Dear graduates and friends and family of graduates, welcome. It's 2021 and we're starting to see the beginning of the end of the pandemic. I'm pleased to know that this year Stanford has an in-person event in the stadium for our graduates. Our event for statistics and mathematical and computational sciences is, however, virtual. You've wrapped up your studies in tough circumstances. I did hear a few positive things about remote learning. For instance, a student can privately ask a question to a professor who can then answer it to the whole class, and nobody has to know who asked the question. However, on balance, most of us are going to be very happy to trade away all the remote instruction difficulties that you managed to get through. To the outside world, statistics can look like a bunch of formulas and rules that somebody has to memorize. And for most people, they're just glad that they're not the one that has to memorize it. But things are different for you. You're insiders. You've seen how it works. You know that people ask us to tell them something about numbers that they don't have using the numbers that they do have. And while putting it this way makes it sound impossible, it isn't quite. Around that nugget of philosophy, there are principles of statistical thinking, and we back them up with math and computation to guide us. Your skills in statistics and data science are very much needed. Scientists need them to understand the world. Companies need them to better serve their customers. And the whole world right now faces tough social, environmental, and medical problems. Thoughtful, careful use of data is more important than it ever has been. I'd like now to say a few words about our commencement speaker, Brad Klingenberg. He studied applied math at CU Boulder before coming here. He has a PhD from our department in 2012, working with Professor Jonathan Taylor. Brad's work has exemplified excellent and interesting data science. For years, he led a group in the clothing industry at Stitch Fix, using math and computing and statistics in innovative ways for personalization and logistics. Just recently, he became the chief data officer at Daily Harvest, customizing food choices for people. We're proud of him, and I can't wait to hear his perspectives. I'd like now to give a mention to all the family and friends of the graduates. You've supported our graduates for many years, and you're a big part of the reason they've gotten to this point. One thing I miss about in-person ceremonies are the spontaneous outbursts from friends and family who may have traveled a great distance to support their graduate. Thanks for supporting them. I know they appreciate it, and if you get the chance, whoop it up with them. Finally, congratulations to all our graduates for achieving this milestone. You're not totally done with your subjects yet because these areas continue to develop, but you have what it takes to keep up. Congratulations and best wishes for the future.
Hello, 2021 MCS and Statistics graduates, families and friends. I'm Brad Klingenberg, the 2012 graduate of the Statistics Department. It's an honor to get to speak to you and the many luminaries of the faculty today as we mark this important occasion and milestone. First and foremost, congratulations. You have worked hard to get here and should enjoy the moment of reflection on this great achievement. It's well deserved. The stark challenges of the last year, sometimes physical, sometimes emotional, makes your accomplishment built on perseverance and resilience all the more remarkable. So once again, congratulations. In contrast with the challenges of the last year are the opportunities ahead of you. There has likely never been a better time to be in your seat. Data science, machine learning, and AI continue to transform science and industry. Today, I will offer my own small advice, 2 lessons, drawn from my own life as a graduate of the Statistics Department. The first lesson is to be open to finding problems in places you might not expect. This is a lesson that shaped the course of my professional life. I spent the most important chapter of my career, almost 8 years, at an e-commerce and online personal styling service called Stitch Fix that used data and algorithms to power the personalization and recommendations that made the company a success. I can tell you with total sincerity that when I was in your seat, I would have never expected to be with you today telling you about my career in fashion. My first experiences in industry followed the well-traveled paths to big tech and finance. And these paths are popular for a reason. They often lead to very interesting and fulfilling careers. But after several years, one of my mentors from Netflix reached out to me with some surprising career news. He had left Netflix to join a startup, a fashion startup called Stitch Fix. At first, I was surprised by the choice. After all, what could be harder to quantify than something that prides itself on being artistic, subjective, even ephemeral? But I was intrigued. I knew the involvement of my mentor meant that something interesting was happening, so I met the team. What soon became clear was that despite my initial surprise, this was a domain primed for data, statistics, and algorithmic decision-making. Feedback from clients helped us not only learn their own preferences, but enabled using the same data to efficiently manage inventory and even design new clothes. Over the years, the team and the scope of the problems we solved grew. When I left the company earlier this year, we had over 140 data scientists and engineers, continuing to innovate solutions for our hardest problems. Finding this application of statistics in an unexpected place led to the most fun and important chapter of my career. I've since started a new chapter at a company called Daily Harvest, and once again find myself working on problems that I would never have anticipated, even a few short years ago. Daily Harvest has a dual mission of removing the frictions between the way that we eat and the way we want to eat and the way that we actually eat, and creating healthier and more sustainable food systems. Once again, to my surprise, the potential for data and statistics are at the heart of this mission. Feedback from customers makes it possible to know them as individuals instead of averages, and to truly personalize their experience. And Daily Harvest's innovative logistics create a supply chain that's nimble and primed for data-driven exploration to efficiently and sustainably create exactly the food that customers want. Much as the rise of the personal computer transformed industries, we are still in the midst of a wave of data science crashing over, or sometimes into, industries. It's really trendy to claim to be data-driven, but the reality is that in many settings, the use of data to make decisions and power systems or products is superficial or missing altogether. And that's where you come in. The lesson to draw is that the tool set of an MCS or statistics graduate, your tool set, is incredibly valuable even in places beyond the largest employers of quantitative professionals, and in places you might not first expect. And this leads me to the second lesson I'd like to share today, that you shouldn't be afraid of being a generalist. When I first started working in industry, I found the wide scope of tools, technologies, and potential areas of expertise very intimidating. I wasn't really an engineer. Could I work with big data? Sure, I'd read some tough deed, but would I really effectively visualize complicated data? How could I ever master everything that I'd need to know when there's so much to learn, and so much that seemed to change faster than I could ever hope to learn it? My impulse was to retreat to my training, to seek comfort in the confines of specialization. I had a PhD in statistics. I hoped I could at least be pretty good at that. And staying in your lane makes it easier not to feel like an imposter. But I soon started to see that my work was more valuable when I embraced the perspective of a generalist, and especially when I prioritized the problem over the solution. An illustrative example of this was managing inventory at Stitch Fix, a retailer with enormous investments in physical inventory. This wasn't just a statistics problem. Absolutely, yes, it involved applied statistical problems of modeling, prediction, and inference. But it was also an optimization problem, a control system problem, a risk management problem, an organizational design problem. By focusing on the business problem, not just the math problem, we were able to draw on the cumulative experience of many disparate disciplines to assemble an efficient assortment of inventory that delighted clients by drawing on our knowledge of both their individual and collective preferences. But this approach requires a comfort with lacking expertise and comfort continuing to learn beyond your formal training. You don't have to know everything, and you certainly won't, but you have the tools to learn. And recognizing that you will always need to keep learning isn't a weakness, it's actually a strength. The idea of strength through growth is at the heart of Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck's distinction between a fixed and a growth mindset. In her words, a growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts, whereas a fixed mindset views opportunities as limited by your current self. A growth mindset is critical to thinking of problems before solutions. One of my favorite definitions of the often ambiguous term data science is a quote from Josh Wills that a data scientist is a person who is better at statistics than any software engineer and better at software engineering than any statistician. Embracing this interdisciplinary approach can not only be fascinating, it also works really well, especially when working on new problems or domains. If you combine these two lessons, that there are rich and interesting problems in places you might not expect, and that you shouldn't be afraid of approaching problems as a generalist, you will start to see opportunity all around you. In my own career, I found that the largest impact for myself and my teams has come not from getting that extra epsilon of predictive performance in a supervised learning setting, but from rethinking basic problems, like how should a retailer decide what clothes to buy? Much of the world, including the business world, operates with a great deal of inertia and inherited wisdom. One of the positive sides of the Silicon Valley disruption ethos is a recognition that we can sometimes do much better by taking a new approach. And in most cases, that new approach is better if it involves thoughtful quantitative framing and the rigors of scientific thinking. One of the best pieces of advice that I've heard is actually a well-known quote from Steve Jobs. Everything around you that you call life was made by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. It's a powerful mindset. And to be sure, you should always respect the expertise of others and try to stand on the tallest shoulders you can find. But be curious, be skeptical, and don't be afraid to keep learning. Congratulations, class of 2021. Thank you for having me. You have my most heartfelt wishes for your bright futures.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gunther Walter, and I'm joining you today as co-director of the Mathematical and Computational Science Program. It is my honor, on behalf of all of the faculty and the staff in the program, to extend our congratulations to all of the graduates and their families. My best wishes are with you all, wherever you are joining us from around the world. As we celebrate your achievements at Stanford today, we are well aware that each of you brought unique experiences and interests with you, and each of you found your own path through the university. I'm proud of what each of you has accomplished. As we are getting close to the end of the pandemic, we can not only look forward optimistically to the future, but we can also clearly see the value of critical thinking and quantitative analysis. During the last year, we have seen how important these qualities turn out to be in order to tackle problems nobody of us thought about 2 years ago, such as predicting case numbers in a pandemic or devising informed and practical solutions to protect the health of all of us. This is, in fact, one of the main goals of the Mathematical and Computational Science Program, to prepare students for the analytical and quantitative thinking that is key to solve problems in science, industry, and society. When I talk to former graduates, they often mention that their training in the foundations of analytical and quantitative analysis has been the key to their success in solving new problems. So you can be confident that you are well prepared to tackle the important problems of the future. And I look forward to seeing where this future takes you. Please keep in touch and let us know how you're doing. Congratulations to the class of 2021.
Congratulations to all of our 2021 graduates. My name is Joe Romano. I am a professor in the departments of Statistics and Economics, and I serve as the Director of Graduate Studies in the Department of Statistics. It is such a pleasure for me to acknowledge your achievement this year. You all have challenged yourselves by completing a rigorous and demanding program under exceptional circumstances. You could not have done this without talent, focus, perseverance, and support from your families, fellow students, and friends, and they all should be acknowledged as well. At this time, statistics students and professionals need to acquire multiple skill sets to succeed, combining statistical expertise, mathematics, computer science, and optimization. But statisticians and data scientists also need to learn subject matter across scientific disciplines, such as computational biology, genetics, political science, econometrics, and climate science, to name a few. The dissertations and work of our graduating students reflect the diversity of our subject and its interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary nature. But this is just the beginning for you. We applaud you in your graduation, but after all, this is just a commencement, a beginning of a new course for each of you. As ambassadors of science, your skills will influence how our data-driven society responds to current and future challenges. I know that I look forward to following your careers and the impact that you will make. Along with all of our faculty, we are proud to have you represent Stanford statistics. As professors at Stanford, we are so fortunate to have such outstanding students who not only learn from us, but from whom we learn as well. You have the tools and skills for continued success, especially if your minds remain eager to continually learn, adapt, and challenge the status quo. May you revel in your search for clarity, understanding, and truth. May you continually lift yourselves up by your own bootstraps and now enjoy your many degrees of freedom. Once again, congratulations to you all and best wishes for continued success.
Dear graduates, let me thank you and your families for the privilege you accorded us to contribute to your education. This year, we did not get to enjoy each other's company as much as we wished. We have missed you. Your energy, enthusiasm, your sense of purpose and optimism make this university different from an institution simply devoted to research. And our online interactions did not reflect these qualities with the same vibrancy we are used to in person. Yet, this year has offered us an opportunity to reflect on the importance of ideas and knowledge and the power that comes from sharing them. While physically distanced, we have been able to connect, engage, and grow whenever we have focused on reasoning and understanding. Data does not speak. We need our best efforts to extract reliable information from it, to responsibly quantify our uncertainty, to delineate the boundaries between what we know and what we do not know. You have become experts in this, and you are very aware of the limitations of any analysis and of the many possibilities of improvements. However multiple the approaches we might take or diverse the assumptions we might make, we are united in our quest for knowledge. The events of these past months have made it abundantly clear that the stakes are high. Ideology and rhetoric hyperboles have lost a lot of allure in favor of the humble, honest, and professional attitude required for learning that results in actual progress. And this is precisely what your training prepares you for. So, let my colleagues and myself congratulate you, your families and supporters in the achievements that we celebrate today. We do so amidst the hope for a return to in-person interactions, which will give me the opportunity to give you all a big, big hug. For the time being, my very best wishes and loudest cheers. Yay!